This isn't a passing idea or a casual thought drifting by. They are standing at a turning point. It's the fact that you are here. Reading this at this exact moment is not random. Something has already begun to shift. The universe does not bring you somewhere without purpose. It brought you here because there is something important you need to understand before another silent night passes unnoticed. There is a truth that very few people ever talk about. The moment someone genuinely believes they have lost you forever, it doesn't quietly settle into the loss and continue without struggle. Instead, something ancient and deeply rooted begins to reach back toward you quietly and almost invisibly. In this message, I will explain what that reaching looks like, how it feels from the outside, what signs it carries, and why. With this particular person, it may already be happening right now. You didn't come across this by chance. Some part of you was drawn to it. On a deeper level, your soul already sensed what it needed to hear and somehow guided you here. The universe is never careless about what it places along your path. The fact that you are here at this moment exists for a reason. What this person feels for you is not leftover habit. It is not simply the comfort of shared history. It isn't. Something that faded with time and never completely disappeared. It is love, genuine love. The kind that doesn't fall silent just because someone decides it should. The kind that continues to rise to the surface, no matter how many times the person carrying it tries to convince themselves to let it go. Admiration does not wake someone at 3 o'clock in the morning. Routine does not make a person write a message. What is keeping this person awake at night is love. And love does not take instructions from fear. It continues to exist regardless. You are not imagining it. Remind yourself of that right now. You are not imagining it. The connection between you is real. What you experienced was not something created from loneliness or wishful thinking. It existed then, and it still exists now. And the universe has been aware of it from the very beginning. Place your hand on your chest for a moment. Notice the warmth there. That feeling is not insignificant. That warmth is the same energy that moves through this person whenever something brings your memory forward. When a song sounds different, they pass by a place the two of you once visited, or when a familiar word or phrase appears that once belonged to both of you. That warmth is a kind of frequency, and it moves in both directions. It always has. The universe sees this. It sees what this person carries quietly when no one else is watching. It understands the feelings they struggle to express aloud. It notices the nights when they lie awake with your name in their thoughts, and no place to put it. And perhaps that is why you arrived at this message tonight. Something is shifting beyond the silence. Something is approaching. Stay with me, because what I'm about to explain may change how you understand everything that has been unfolding between the two of you. Type "they notice" in the comments right now, because they did. They noticed the moment your energy changed. They noticed when you stopped being the one who always reached out first. And what I'm about to show you next is something important that you should not overlook. They are deciding whether to return. And the fact that they are still deciding already tells you a great deal. Someone who has truly stopped caring does not hesitate. They simply move on. They continue forward without looking back. They do not stare at their phone late at night. They do not open your name and close it again repeatedly. But this person is not completely walking away. They are standing at the edge, still looking back. It is not indifference. That is someone struggling internally. And people only experience that level of conflict when the outcome matters deeply. You are what is at stake. You always have been. Here is what that inner conflict often looks like, when the mind believes it might be losing someone important. The first response is to look for subtle ways back into that person's world, quiet side entrances rather than direct ones. It does not want to be exposed yet. It is not fully ready for a direct conversation, so it begins with small actions. First, quiet signals that are almost invisible. They check your name, and then a few hours later, they check it again. They look at something you shared and don't react, yet they remain there longer than they originally intended. They might like something old, perhaps a post from weeks ago. A person who had truly moved on would never have gone back to search for. They ask a mutual friend a question that appears unrelated but actually isn't. They allow your name to surface in a conversation where it had no clear reason to appear. Sometimes They make themselves briefly visible of you on your story, a small sign of presence, and then they disappear again. They are not ready to say the words directly, but they are not gone either. What this reflects is something often discussed in ideas about attachment. They are circling, quietly measuring the distance between where they are and where you are, trying to determine whether the ground is safe enough to step onto again. Then comes the testing phase. At times they become silent for several days. After that, something small appears. A message, a simple observation, check-in presented as coincidence, or a shared memory mentioned as if it had only just come to mind. None of this timing is random. They want to observe how you respond. They want to know whether the version of you who once reached out is still reachable. In other words, they are searching for the door and trying to sense whether it might still be open, even slightly. And when none of those small signals provide a clear answer, the truth begins to show through the edges. A message appears that is short but carries far more meaning than the words themselves. A question is asked that didn't truly need to be asked. A sentence begins in a simple place and somehow ends somewhere entirely different. A quiet confession is hidden inside. Something that sounds casual. In those moments, what they have been holding back shifts slightly. And you can briefly see what exists underneath. That isn't weakness. It is love finding the only opening available. They return to the last message you sent. They read it once, then read it again. They check the time it was sent. They place the phone face down. A moment later, they pick it up again. They open your name and stare at the empty text bar. They type something, delete it, type again, then stop. They hold the phone in their hands and remain silent. They set it down, pick it up again, return to your name. Eventually, they scroll through older messages, going all the way back to the beginning. They pause on something you once said, something small, something you may not even remember, and they stay there longer than they intended. That is not someone who has moved on. That is someone being pulled by something stronger than their own decisions. That is someone who loves you, but has not yet found the courage to say it openly again. The universe did not place this connection between you carelessly. It does not create something this genuine between two people only to allow it to disappear without meaning. What began between you is still moving forward. The silence did not stop it. The distance did not stop it. No decision made by the rational mind can undo what something far older and deeper than logic has already set into motion. What this person feels for you is not logical. It does not respond to simple reasoning. It does not disappear just because. They tried to command it too. Admiration alone does not cause this. Admiration does not keep someone awake at 4 a.m. What keeps them awake is love, restless, searching love, deep, inconvenient, and impossible to fully control. Find your pulse right now. Press your fingers gently to the inside of your wrist and feel that pulse. That steady rhythm continued through every day of this silence. It did not stop. It did not fade. And in the same way, what this person feels, for you continued as well, even when they tried to quiet it, even when they convinced themselves it was finished, even when they searched for something to take its place. The universe sees every sleepless night they spend with your name in their thoughts. It sees the love they are trying to manage as if it were something that could be controlled. And perhaps that is why you arrived here tonight, because something is already beginning to move. Something is close. When night finally arrives and the day settles down, the defenses begin to fall. During the day, they move through their responsibilities. They show up, respond to others, and complete what is expected of them. But nighttime is different. When the day ends, something else takes over. In daylight, they maintain composure. They appear fine and continue functioning. But the night is another story because, in those quiet hours, there is no need to perform. The mask fades away, and what remains is the truth. At 2 a.m, they lie awake, eyes open, staring into the dark. By 3, your name is the thought filling the silence around them. By 4, they are still awake, caught somewhere between wanting to reach out and fearing what might follow. The other side of the bed is only empty space. They know this logically, yet something inside them keeps forgetting it. And then there are the dreams. During the day, they can manage their thoughts, push feelings aside, and redirect their focus. But no one controls what happens during sleep. In their dreams, you are simply there sitting beside them somewhere that does not fully exist in the real world. You're laughing, and they can hear it clearly. Not a distant echo, but the exact sound they remember. You look at them the way you once did, open, warm, without distance. There are no barriers, just presence. Then they wake up and, for 3 seconds, everything feels different. For those brief seconds, the silence does not exist, and neither does the separation. There is only the feeling of being close to you again. Then the 4th second arrives. The warmth slowly fades and reality returns, and the internal struggle begins once more. Often their body reacts before the mind even understands what is happening. Their throat tightens when your name appears in conversation. A sudden drop settles in the stomach when something small unexpectedly brings you to mind. A warmth rises in the chest that they quickly try to suppress. Their breathing changes when they encounter something connected to you. Their hands pause for a moment. The body has never learned to deceive. It simply remembers. Every day of this silence, it has remembered you. Even while the mind worked relentlessly to forget, they told themselves it was over. They told themselves to move forward and truly mean it. They convinced themselves you were only a chapter and chapters eventually close. They believed that time would slowly dissolve the feeling. They said the longing was just habit, and habits can be broken. They assumed someone else would eventually fill the empty space. They reminded themselves the decision they made was the correct one. They told themselves they were doing fine. They even tried to believe the love was nothing more than nostalgia. Wearing a heavier coat than it deserved, they told themselves whatever story made the truth easier to endure. Every one of those explanations was simply a way to cope. But the reality is different. What they feel for you is love. You did not create it through imagination. And you did not bring it into existence just by wanting it. It was real when it began, and it remains real now, present and heavy in a quiet room where your name still exists in their thoughts. That love did not walk out the door with them when they left. It stayed behind. It is still here. It is still waiting, typed they. Noticed in the comments once again, because they did. They noticed the moment you stopped waiting, and that shift created something inside them they were not prepared to face. The universe sees every person reading this right now. It understands why you arrived here. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part that helps everything make sense. If this person could speak to you right now with no fear, no defenses, and nothing left to protect, this is what they would say. I think about you every night. Never planned for that. I truly wanted it to be finished. And when I said it was over, I meant it. But meaning something and making it true are two very different things. I tried to stop thinking about you. I tried every approach I could. I filled my days with activity, so there would be no quiet space for those thoughts to appear. I filled my nights with noise so the silence would not bring you back into my mind. None of it worked. You are still there. You are always there. You are the last thought before I fall asleep and the first thought when I wake up. And somehow you remain present in every moment in between. I miss you in ways that are difficult to explain to anyone who asks. Not the obvious things, but the small details. The way you said my name, not the way others say it, but the way you did. The way you listened to me as if what I was saying truly mattered, as if I was someone deserving of another person's full attention. I have not felt that since you, not even once. I remember the way you looked at me. I remember the last time. I saw your face, what you were wearing, what you said, what I said in return, and the exact words I wish I had spoken instead. I have been sitting with that regret in the silence ever since. I remember ordinary mornings and quiet evenings that didn't seem ordinary while I was living through them. I remember what it felt like to be near you and not have to pretend to simply be myself. I remember feeling enough without explanation, being fully accepted for who I am. I remember everything I've spent months trying to forget and I cannot. Erase a single detail. Beneath all of it lies a fear I cannot shake, that it's too late, that you've found your peace and I'm no longer part of it.
F.
That you've moved forward and no longer need what I could bring back. That if I reach out, you might not respond. And somehow, I am even more afraid that you will. I fear the impact of hearing your voice again. I fear the weight of seeing your face and realizing fully everything I walked away from, carrying that understanding for the rest of my life. What if I drained everything you had to give? What if I broke something that can't be repaired? What if you look at me and feel nothing? What if I stand at a door that has already gone dark, knocking with no one on the other side? I know I hurt you. I know there are things I left unsaid that should have been spoken. I know the choices I made cost you something real, and I didn't stay long enough to witness that cost. No, I have no right to miss you as I do, yet I cannot stop. I am losing the one person I was meant to hold on to. Type they noticed. In the comments, because they did. They noticed you didn't collapse. They noticed you didn't chase. And that restraint, your quiet strength, is what cracked something open inside them now. This is what the universe needs you to understand. The decision this person believes is theirs to make, whether to return, whether to reach out, whether to bridge the distance, was never fully theirs to begin with. It wasn't made at 3 o'clock in the morning staring at a ceiling. It was made somewhere far deeper than reason, at the level where souls operate, where fear has no authority and logic carries no power. The universe does not place two people in each. Others live with that depth of recognition only to erase it because one of them grew afraid. What is placed is intentional. One person's fear cannot undo what has already been written between you. Their mind may deliberate, but something far older than thought has already decided. That answer has always been the same. The silence you felt is not rejection. Hear that clearly. It is the sound of someone gathering courage to do what they already know they are going to do. It is not the silence of someone who forgot you. It is not the silence of someone who healed and moved on. It is the silence of someone carrying something too immense to hold and too real to release. You are never the problem. You have never been the problem. You are always the answer. Run your fingers slowly along the inside of your forearm. Feel the warmth there. That same frequency moves through them every time your presence crosses their mind. You are not outside this connection. You never have been. It doesn't need their active participation to exist. It exists because the universe placed it, and the universe never misplaces what it intends. Type they noticed one more time, because they did. They noticed something shift in you, and that very shift is what gives them the next move. Stay with me, because what follows is about who you've become in. It's the most powerful part of this entire message. Something has changed inside you. You may not have named it yet, but you can feel it. What used to tremble has gone still. What used to reach has stopped reaching. What used to wait has simply stopped waiting. And in that stillness, what had been trying to reach you for a long time finally finds the space to land. You used to check your phone the moment your eyes opened each morning. You used to feel that hollow drop when it wasn't them. You used to replay conversations, searching for the exact point where it went wrong. You used to scroll through old messages, looking for what you must have missed. You used to analyze every word, every pause, every silence. You used to make yourself smaller to accommodate someone who always needed more. You used to apologize for things that were never yours to own. You used to explain yourself to someone who wasn't really listening. You used to leave the door open even as you stood in the cold of it. You used to carry the weight of both of you. You used to pour yourself endlessly into something that had long stopped pouring back, and then you stopped. You stopped waiting on a message to determine your worth. You stopped shrinking to fit a hollow space someone else left behind. You stopped translating silence into something softer than it was. You stopped making excuses for things with no excuse. You stopped measuring yourself by how quickly they responded. You stopped asking to be chosen. Stopped standing in a doorway that only made you cold. You stopped begging. Stopped bargaining. You stopped performing your own pain, hoping someone would finally notice it. You chose yourself. Quietly, without announcement, without applause. Something inside decided your peace was worth protecting, that your mornings belonged to you, and that your nights deserved more than waiting in them. You became whole on your own terms. That alone is the most powerful moment in this entire story. They noticed it. Even across the silence, even through everything, they notice the version of you who used to stand at the window is gone. They may not be able to name exactly what changed, but they sense it. Because they sensed it, the psyche began responding. In the way it always does when it believes it is truly losing someone. First come the small signals. A quiet glance at your profile. A like on an old post. Your name appearing somewhere it didn't need to. Then the testing. Sudden silence followed by something seemingly casual. But it's not casual at all. Finally, the truth begins to leak through. A brief message that carries far more than its words. A question that opens the door they've been standing outside of for months. That three-part patterns, small signals. Testing truth leaking is either already unfolding or right on the edge of beginning. And once they noticed your change, that awareness could not rest anywhere. It just keeps moving. In the spiritual world, there is a concept called the sacred threshold. It is the moment a soul stops standing at a door, waiting to be welcomed in, and becomes the door itself. The moment you stop asking to be chosen and fully step into your own choosing, you cross that threshold. You may not have paused to mark it, but it happened and the universe saw every step. The signs you see around you are not random. When 111 appears, it is the universe signaling that a portal has opened. Something is already in motion. When 2222 appears, it signals that two souls are at a crossroads, and something is being arranged on a level you cannot yet fully perceive. When 3 or 33 shows up, it is a reminder that you are not navigating this alone. Something is present, holding space for what comes next. Every song that evokes memories of what you shared is a signal. Every moment that feels too precise to be coincidence is a nudge from a force that does not deal in chance. Here is the central paradox. The moment you stopped reaching is when you became magnetic. The moment you stopped needing is when you became the most compelling presence in someone's life. The moment you became whole is when the universe began reorganizing itself around your new frequency. You did not become whole to draw them back. You became whole because you deserve wholeness. Yet the universe does not let a transformation this profound go unused. It is already at work. Place both hands flat on your knees and feel the steadiness. Beneath them, that steadiness, that groundedness, is exactly what they cannot find anywhere else. Nobody else has given them what you give, not in the same way, not at the same frequency. This is not sentiment. It is the truth the universe has recognized and been holding for you all along. The same energy that keeps galaxies moving in their spirals has been holding you. The same force that pulls oceans toward the moon has been guiding you toward something far greater than what you thought you lost. The light that burns in distant stars, taking thousands of years to reach us, burns in the center of your chest right now. The love that moves planets around suns flows through your veins. You are not a small character in a minor story. You were made from the same material as all that is vast, enduring, and beautiful in this universe. The universe has been watching over you every second of silence, every quiet morning you moved through alone. Every long night you wondered if any of it was real. It never looked away. You are loved not only by this person, but by something far greater than any individual could contain, the force that decided you should exist, the energy that placed you in this life at this exact moment.